blue and gauzy white globe set against the ink-black backdrop of infinite space. This is our Earth. It is a surpassing wonder of beauty, a delicate orb in a velvety vastness. But if we look a little more carefully, beyond the very superficial, we see that our world is not uniform and homogenized. There are differences as great as night and day, from immense green rainforests to endless sun-baked deserts, to the great rivers that snake across continents, to the whiteness of the ice caps at the world's top and bottom, to the grand oceans and seas with their blue and darker blue and darkest blue, to the mountains that look like crinkles on the landscape. Over it all, the restless motions and swirls of the ever-changing weather patterns. And there, right there, in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, we find Oregon, one of Earth's glittering jewels. And here, sparkling like a priceless emerald, is Wildlife Safari in Winston, Oregon. Our world teems with life, yet much that walked the Earth in mid-century, or even 10 years ago, is gone or barely survives. Wildlife Safari was founded in 1973 to give a home to many of the Earth's endangered or threatened animals. Over 500 wonderful animals from 80 different exotic species live and thrive and roam free in this 600-acre park. These creatures, protected and safe, enjoy a congenial habitat in one of the park's 3 areas: Africa, Asia, and the Americas. While there's nothing to compare with being here at Wildlife Safari in person, we can still have a great video experience. So, together, let's go on the same tour that everyone takes here at this special place and see all these wonderful animals right where they live.
In Nigeria, the people speak this proverb: the cheetah is like the lightning and thunder. When you see him, it is too late to run. When you hear him, it is too late to move.
For short distances, cheetahs are the fastest land mammals on Earth. They can sprint up to 70 miles per hour, as many an unsuspecting antelope is discovered too late. Our safari through the park begins appropriately here, at the compound of animals that are the very symbol, the very heart of Wildlife Safari. Over 130 cubs have made their grand entrance into the world at Wildlife Safari, one of the leading cheetah breeding facilities in the Western Hemisphere. An endangered animal, there are fewer than 15,000 remaining in the wild. Tigers are certainly no match for cheetahs when it comes to speed, but they are quick enough and enormously strong. The largest of the big cats, tigers can take down prey nearly twice their size. As Lady Audrey St. Glenning describes the tiger, tawny bright and black-striped fur, creeping stealthy, just a blur. Poised, he leaps on wary prey. The tiger eats his fill today. Despite the tiger's natural advantages in its habitat, man's encroachments have reduced the population to just 5% of what it was 50 years ago. Only a few thousand tigers remain in the Asian forests, making a last stand as their world shrinks and shrinks. We move now through the heart of Wildlife Safari's Asia section, where we see a variety of animals. Keep a sharp eye out and be sure to see them all. Sika deer from Japan are graceful creatures. Since the word sika means deer in Japanese, calling them sika deer is actually redundant, but that's their name. The adults retain a certain fawn-like appearance because they keep their spotted coat into maturity. The Saurus cranes, which can reach 5 feet in height, mate for life, which is a characteristic of all varieties of cranes. Their mating calls are sometimes heard by those who listen carefully, and their elaborate courtship dance is extremely entertaining. It is fortunate that Wildlife Safari has one of the largest wild yak herds in the United States. They have become so depleted in their native Tibetan habitat that they probably cannot be saved from extinction. Graceful antelope, the black buck have an interesting distinction between the dominant male and the other males of the herd. The males, as they mature, turn very dark, and this darkening is most pronounced in the dominant male. Females remain light brown. These nilgai come from India and are regarded by the Hindus as relatives to the sacred cow. They appear to kneel while they graze, but they can also stand briefly on their hind legs to reach leafy forage. Egyptian geese are found all over the park, especially in the Asian and African ponds. Despite being called geese, these birds actually have duck-like characteristics as well. Native to the Nile Valley, Egyptian geese were domesticated by the ancient Egyptians. If you should happen to cross a Bactrian camel, the one with 2 humps, with a dromedary, or Arabian camel, the one-humped variety, how many humps will the offspring have? This sounds like a trick question, but it's not. The 2 species can actually interbreed, and the result is a camel with 1 hump, but it's elongated. Wildlife Safari's camels are all Bactrian. They can survive in extreme heat with little water. In fact, these camels can lose up to 40% of their body weight when water is scarce and fill themselves right up to the top again with just one long drink at a watering hole. The white fallow deer, taken into Central Europe by the ancient Romans, can also be found in the Asia section. If we judged them by only their antlers, we would think they were a moose. Ahead are the elephants and Wildlife Safari's Africa section.
In Tanzania, the people say that the elephant is a trumpeting mountain that moves.
Elephants are endlessly fascinating, no doubt because of their strange appearance and enormous size. There are no small-eared Asian elephants at Wildlife Safari, only the African species, with the large ears, shaped like the continent itself. A large bull may reach 11 feet in height and weigh as much as 8 tons. Because its trunk is both very strong and flexible, an elephant uses it for tasks varying from lifting a huge log to picking a delicate flower. The secret to this incredible versatility is the 40,000 muscles and tendons that make up the trunk, and the 2 sensitive finger-like processes at the end. Like the North American bison, African elephants once numbered in the millions. Now, however, they have dwindled to become a threatened species because of the encroachments of man, including habitat destruction and poaching. Although controlled breeding of elephants is very difficult, Wildlife Safari is cooperating with other zoos in programs designed to help save this magnificent animal. There are several very special elephant experiences available at Wildlife Safari. First, watch them on their daily walk up to Safari Village. Then, a private group can arrange for a special elephant walk all its own. Finally, anyone can take an elephant ride in the village. Moving through the Africa section of the park, we encounter what the Greeks named hippopotamus, the river horse. Hippos like to spend their days resting in the water, with most of their nights grazing. And talk about thick-skinned. With an outer layer of skin 2 inches thick, they resist heat loss when they're in the water and burning by the sun when they're on land. Hippos can be very deceptive. A 3.5-ton bull may look much too big to be very speedy, but he can move quite fast when he wants to. Hippos probably kill more people in Africa than any other animal. Fortunately, here at Wildlife Safari, we can enjoy them in complete safety. The largest of the world's antelope is the Cape eland, which can measure up to 11 feet and weigh well over a ton. These animals are also incredible jumpers, leaping as high as 8 feet. Waterbuck are another variety of antelope, which stay near rivers and lakes so as to escape from predators by retreating to deep water. They have a special oily secretion covering their coats that permits them to handle this wet existence. This is the wildebeest, or gnu, strange-looking antelope from the Serengeti Plains. Appearing to have cattle, horse, and antelope characteristics all mixed together, the gnu is sometimes called the clown of the steppes. A fascinating African bird here in Wildlife Safari is the East African crowned crane. Its feathered crown makes it both striking and easy to recognize. Giraffes, with their long, spindly legs and extended necks, reach towering heights of 15 to 17 feet. With their ability to see danger first, they act as sentinels and give early warning signals that benefit the other savanna animals. 2 fascinating giraffe characteristics are worth noting. First, males typically stretch upward to their full height to eat, but females curve their necks to feed at body or knee height. Second, giraffes have a way of walking unlike almost any other animal. They swing the 2 legs on the same side of their body forward at nearly the same time, which certainly works, but looks ungainly. Thompson's gazelle, A graceful and delicate creature is at home on the short grass steppes of eastern Africa. The sexes can be differentiated by their horns. The males are slightly S-shaped and pointed upward, while females have thin, straight horns. The other gazelle in the park is the gemsbok. Because they're adapted to the deserts of southern Africa, gemsbok are experts at finding and conserving water. Have you ever wondered why zebras were striped? Camouflage for one thing, but those patterns also help herd members recognize each other, and they aid in protection against disease-carrying insects. The Damara zebra calls wildlife safari home. It sports brownish shadow stripes between the black stripes. These Watusi cattle are named after the tribe that domesticated them nearly 7,000 years ago. They were a store of value and an indicator of tribal wealth and prestige. With horns up to 5 feet in length, Watusi cattle top even the famed Texas Longhorns. Rhinoceros, from the Greek words for nose and horn, are the only animals with horns on their noses. Those horns have proven almost the complete downfall of these animals. Some people believe that the rhino horn, when ground into powder, conveys remarkable power to the person who consumes it, and this has caused the rhino to be poached almost out of existence. Wildlife Safari is a participant in the American Zoo and Aquarium Association's Species Survival Plan for white rhinos. White rhinos can weigh up to 8,000 pounds. The hump behind the head contains a mass of muscles necessary to support a head that can weigh up to a ton.
In the early morning and in the twilight, Kenyan villagers will say, "When the lion sleeps, the children laugh."
Lions are formidable predators on the African savanna. Females hunt for prey at dawn and dusk. When they hunt in groups, their chances of success are multiplied. The king of beasts once roamed in many places throughout the world, but now are found in the wild only in Africa and in a small reserve in India. A favorite of all visitors, here's the original big bird, the flightless ostrich, saying goodbye at the end of the drive-thru. The largest bird in the world, they can grow to 8 feet and weigh up to 300 pounds. Their long necks and keen eyesight enable them to spy out predators at a great distance. They can take off running and hit 40 miles an hour in 2 seconds flat. And by the way, an ostrich never sticks its head in the sand either. North and South America make up the third section at Wildlife Safari. Native to the Pacific Northwest coastal areas, the Roosevelt elk travel in large herds led by an older female. In preparation for mating season in the fall, the bull's antlers will reach their maximum length of over 5 feet in July. Millions of bison once roamed the prairies of the central United States, but between 1870 and 1875, all but a few hundred were slaughtered because they inconvenienced the new railroads, threatened farmers' crops, supported the Indians, and also because they were needed to provide meat for the railroad laborers. Because of zoo-led conservation efforts since the early 1900s, the bison has made a strong comeback. Brown and black bears roam the forests and woodlands in much of North America. Just as they do in the wild, the bears at Wildlife Safari den during the winter. Despite popular belief, bears don't truly hibernate. Brown bears are considerably larger than black bears, but despite their names, both come in an assortment of colors. All bears in the park arrived as orphaned cubs. A bald eagle lives on Eagle Island by permission of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He had gunshot wounds to the wing and chest when he was brought to Wildlife Safari's Raptor Rehabilitation Center. Although he is healed, he must remain and be cared for because he cannot hunt for himself. Because they are the oldest living bird species, sandhill cranes are especially significant. It is interesting that before they nest, cranes camouflage themselves with mud and vegetation. These birds have remained virtually unchanged for millions of years. These wild ancestors of the llama are called guanacos. Found in South America, the camel-like animals sometimes reach 265 pounds. They live in higher elevations and can survive for a period without water. Rheas could be mistaken for a South American version of the ostrich, but they're only a distant relative. Like their shirt-tail cousin, they aren't able to fly, but they do move their wings for steering and changing directions while running. And here's something unique at Wildlife Safari. It's the North American Theater. During the summer, this is a delightful oasis of fascinating entertainment for visitors on drive-through safari. This theater features seasonal shows with live birds of prey and interpretive material. Before we visit Safari Village, let's consider for a brief moment what it takes to protect, support, and sustain all of these superb animals. What it takes to maintain, operate, and constantly improve the whole park. What it takes to make Wildlife Safari succeed in its great mission: wildlife conservation, education, research, and the rehabilitation of injured birds of prey and other species. Wildlife Safari is a non-profit institution organized under the direction of Safari Game Search Foundation. Wildlife Safari uses every single dollar earned or raised to support the park's programs and activities. You can add your own vote of confidence and support by becoming a member of Wildlife Safari. There's a level of membership that's just right for you, and the benefits are great too, including unlimited admission to the park for a whole year. There is also a corporate membership program. With your membership, you'll enjoy yourself and help Wildlife Safari at the same time. Please call this toll-free number for details, 800-355-4848. Find out about membership by calling 800-355-4848 or visit our website, www.wildlifesafari.org. The animals of Wildlife Safari may not know to thank you, but their lives will be happier because of your support. A trip through Safari Village is the capstone to a perfect day at Wildlife Safari. There is so much to see and do here with such a wide variety of animal species to experience. At Gibbon Island, the two white-handed gibbons live surrounded by water. Since these lesser apes can't swim, the island enclosure is a safe and natural habitat for them. Gibbons are threatened in their Asian rainforest home, but protected and thriving at Wildlife Safari. Gibbons are kept busy by jungle gym structures. The ropes and swings permit them to do most of the same sorts of activities they would enjoy in their rainforest canopy. By hiding their food in various locations, Wildlife Safari rangers force the gibbons to duplicate natural foraging. One fascinating feature of gibbon life is their communication with each other. They do this through high-pitched songs specific to each family, which carry for long distances. It's also very amusing to see the gibbons descend to the ground to get water and watch them walk upright with their hands crossed behind their neck or held above the head. These wolves are native to North America and live in social groups called packs. Because of hunting and habitat loss, wolves are considered endangered. The ring-tailed lemurs are always popular. Lemurs can be found only on the island of Madagascar and are in danger of becoming extinct. You can also get up close to flamingos, wallabies, and nursery animals too. Seasonal live animal programs put you up close to exotic and native wildlife, including a beautiful cheetah and magnificent elephant. Stroll down the giant king snake sidewalk. Enjoy the hands-on petting corral. See animal diets being prepared in the village kitchen. In season, take a ride on an elephant, pony, or train, and get your photo taken with a real animal ambassador. Lunch is served in the White Rhino restaurant, and that perfect souvenir of your visit is on display and waiting for you in the Casbah gift shop. We're glad that we could rekindle memories of your visit to Wildlife Safari by taking you on this video tour. Please consider becoming a member, and by all means, come back to Winston, Oregon and visit the park again and again, whenever you can. We're always glad to see you. The world may be a big place, but one of its greatest attractions is Wildlife Safari.